Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Threatened to hit me with your car? Good luck getting your car out. I was reading a post today that reminded me of something that happened back in 2009. Both of my sons were in middle school and high school, old enough to stay home by themselves. I worked the 5 to close shift at the local chain hair salon. We lived in a condo and my neighbors were notorious for stealing someone's shoved parking space. I knew someone was going to take my spot and asked my youngest son if he would start to shovel my spot out when I called to tell him that I was on my way home. I told him it was worth $20 and he was happy to do it. I called him at 9:05 p.m. and he went out to get to work. We had about 6 inches of snow on the ground and he only needed to shovel enough for my tires to hit the blacktop and for me to get out of the car. I got home and I saw him standing there and no cleared spaces. I did see a shiny new BMW parked where he said he was going to shovel out for me. I got out of the car and I asked him what had happened. This boy burst into tears and told me some woman drove up while he was cleaning out the space and threatened to run him over if he did not move and let her park where he had just spent 20 minutes shoveling for me. He told her that he was shoveling for his mom who would be there in 5 minutes. She started honking and cursing at him to move. She actually drove the front bumper of her car into him and was threatening him with a car. She almost hit a 12-year-old with her car just so she could have a clear parking spot to park her BMW in. The best part, she did not even live there. She was someone's guest and was supposed to park in a guest parking spot. I parked down in the next lot and walked back to the condo. My son had gone inside and calmed down by then. I checked and he was not injured, just mad and scared. I told him it was not worth someone almost hitting him with their car over a snow-free parking space. I gave him the $20 and told him some people are just evil and to forget about it. I wanted to call the police, but I knew it was a rich witch word against a 12-year-old since I had not seen what had happened. We did not live in the best area, and the cops mostly could not be bothered with us lesser humans. Since the next day was a snow day, no school, my boys were up playing video games. And my 12-year-old told his brother who was 14 what had happened. My oldest son came out and asked me if what his brother said was true about the woman trying to hit me with her car over a parking spot. And I told him to go look outside for himself. My oldest comes in and asks me what we were going to do about this witch. I told him growing up in Baltimore City, if someone stole your spot in front of your house like that, we would just shovel them in to teach them a lesson. My oldest got this look on his face and told his brother to get his coat and boots on and to grab a shovel. Those boys spent from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. shoveling this woman's car in. They packed so much snow around her car, all you could see was a roof. They took snow from all over the parking lot to pack around her car. I know I should not have laughed or encouraged them, but I felt it was justified that the witch bullied a 12-year-old boy and got her car almost completely packed in snow. Her car sat there like that for 3 days until the snow started to melt and no one figured out my kids had done it. Maybe next time the witch will think twice about bullying a child for a parking spot in the winter. Next story. Entitled Mother Steals My Bike. Ends up paying big time. For context, this took place when I was 12. A few years ago, my apartment building was having a party. I don't remember why, but I decided to go anyway. Our apartment complex is the shape of a banana. No, seriously, it was a driveway that stretches all the way around it. The party was outside and there was enough room for me to ride my bike. There were tables in the driveway with water, and at one point of the party I was thirsty. I got some water and extended the kickstand on my bike and lifted. I went to throw the water cup out when I was done. I went back to get my bike, but I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere and I asked a bunch of adults where it was. One of them said my mom had taken it, so I went to her and asked her if she had it. "Hey, did you take my bike?" "No, why?" "An adult said that you took it." "I didn't take it, but I'll let you know if somebody has it." I walked around and when I found it, not where I left it, it was like 50 feet away from where I was standing. Holy sheep, I got so worried. I started to walk towards the bike when the entitled mother walked over.
"Excuse me, what do you think you're doing with my baby's bike?"
"This is my bike."
"No, it isn't yours, idiot."
"It is my bike. Ask my mom." She starts to charge towards me.
"If you don't leave right now, I will destroy your bike."
So it's my bike. At this point, adults start to congregate around us, and she realizes that she is screwed. So she decides to take my bike and make a run for it. And the entitled kid who has been running around finally sees her mom running away. I'm running after the entitled mom when the entitled kid dives for my feet.
"Stop! You don't deserve my bike!"
The mom gets cornered by the other parents who wrestle the bike from her and help me up from the ground. She ends up being banned from any parties and meetings that the complex will ever have, and her kid is publicly shamed by all the other kids. Next story. Racist Karen anti-masker pepper sprays cashier gets arrested for assault. I'm a small-town cop in Michigan who deals with many Karens on a monthly basis. I got an emergency call from a gas station on the edge of the city about a racist anti-masker refusing to leave the store and getting aggressive. When my partner and I arrived, Karen was already screaming at the cashier,
"You stupid freaking N-word!"
As we opened the door, she pulled out the pepper spray and lit loose on the cashier. I wish we had gotten there a bit sooner. I know how much pepper spray hurts. We grabbed the pepper spray out of her hand and my partner arrested her and read her rights. I went behind the counter to check on the cashier who was on the floor sopping. After washing his face with a hose outside and with milk, he was feeling well enough for me to bring him to urgent care. He was fine after an hour or so, and Karen was charged with assault. The cashier apparently had told Karen he could not serve her without a mask due to store policy and she wouldn't listen. He had told her that if she refused to leave the store, he would call the police and she started screaming at him and calling him slurs. It only took us 7 minutes to get there, but obviously that was not enough to keep him from being pepper sprayed. I'm really sorry for the dude. Next story. A grown man throws a fit and almost dies. I work overnight in my hospital's COVID ICU. And there is this one patient who is ridiculously entitled. Oh, how he loves to order all of us around, and his favorite trick was to wait until we'd finished whatever we were doing to think of 2 or 3 other things he needed immediately, at which point we'd already doffed our PPE, personal protective equipment, and therefore had to leave, and then get pissed off when we didn't turn around and immediately do it without PPE on. And you better believe that Light was grafted to his hand. Basically, he's just an all-around attention seeker. As if you can be in the ICU and not get enough attention. Most people beg us to please leave them alone for a little while so they can sleep. But I digress. When he arrived, he was critical enough that we had to intubate him and put him on a ventilator. After 3 days, he'd improved enough to get off the vent and switch to a heated high-flow cannula. Which is a good thing where we can gradually ease people down to hopefully just a regular nasal cannula. And also it meant he could eat. So he would call us to get him jello, popsicles, ice water, snacks, etc. at least hourly and often more frequently than that, all night long. He did not even eat all of them. He'd take a couple bites and throw the rest away and want another one 10 minutes later. He just wanted someone to go in and wait on him. This particular night, about 2 weeks after admission, his doctor restricted him to water only until morning because his sugar was running high. This patient did not like this because there went 75% of his means of getting attention. So he decided that taking off his high flow so that his oxygen sats plummeted was a great idea because we obviously respond to those alarms damn quick. After the third or fourth time of him deliberately doing this, I went in and sat down and had a blunt talk with him. I said I know it's boring in isolation, it sucks, that there is no visitors allowed, and yes, the hospital's K-pole plan leaves much to be desired. But he is hurting himself by doing this, and every time he does it, his oxygen levels take longer to recover. I told him I get that you don't like being here, and I don't blame you a bit, but you're sabotaging your own recovery and making your stay longer by doing this. You've been improving steadily, and the last thing anyone wants is for you to go back on the vent. So is there anything that I can do to help you relax and get some sleep tonight? And he said he supposed he could use his laptop, but he needed reading glasses to see the screen, so if I brought him some, he'd stop taking his oxygen off. I'm sorry, but we don't have disposable reading glasses. I can try to help you increase the text size on your computer. And in the morning, maybe you can have a family member pick up your glasses from home and drop them off for you with security.
The nurse has some out there.
Our unit is basically a circle of rooms with a nurse's station in the center, where we can see and vice versa.
I'll just use those.
Those are her personal glasses, and she needs them. Besides, in isolation rooms, whatever comes into your room has to be disposable or your personal property.
Then have the hospital optometrist come in and give me new ones.
At this point, it's about midnight. We don't have a hospital optometrist. Seriously, does any hospital anywhere have an on-call optometrist? And even if we did during COVID isolation, only medically necessary staff are allowed into this unit. Can someone bring in yours? Him getting mad now?
You'll get me an optometrist. I have a caseworker who oversees my care across 3 counties. I'll call her and tell her, and she will make you bring in someone to give me new reading glasses.
The rant went on, but at this point I'm just done, so I repeat to him that none of this will be happening because you are in COVID isolation, sir. But if you can think of something reasonable that we can do for him, we will be glad to do it. He's still making demands about glasses, so I leave because we're clearly not getting anywhere, and contrary to his apparent belief, he is not the only patient in the unit. 2 minutes later, his call light goes off. I go see what he needs, and he wants the nurse's glasses. Another call light. Wants glasses. Another call light. Still wants glasses. Are you kidding me right now? Another call light. At this point, I don't even say, "Can I help you?" I just tell him that it doesn't matter how many times he asks, the nurse is not going to give him her glasses. And he's a grown man who knows better than to behave like this. Our unit is full and we need to see everyone's needs, not just his. If he has a real need, we're happy to help him. But he needs to accept that he's not getting the nurse's glasses. So he takes off his oxygen. And now we're playing this game again. I gown up, run in, put it back in his nose, and leave. He waits until I'm outside, getting wiped down, and then looks me straight in the eye and pulls it off again. I gown up again, go back in, and tell him that he has to leave it on, put it back in his nose, and leave. He takes it off again. At this point, I tap out because I'm a patient person, but this is beyond ridiculous. And I'm about to exercise my ex-Navy vocabulary at him. So another nurse takes over. She goes in and tells him that if a patient is a danger to themselves, we have to restrain them. And deliberately removing life-sustaining treatment qualifies as a danger to himself. She tells him that she's not as nice as me, so he gets one chance to knock it off. He lets her leave and then takes his oxygen off again. And one thing about this nurse, she does not bluff. 5 minutes later, his hands are restrained, which honestly the reason I put up with his nonsense for so long was because we try our damnness not to restrain anybody. Which honestly the reason I put up with his nonsense for so long was because we try our hardest not to restrain anybody. But at least now he can take off his oxygen and maybe I can get some work done. Nope. He's got a new game. Throw a screaming fit. I swear to God. This is a grown man in his 60s screaming that it's not fair, we're all so mean and why are we doing this to him and so on. It really is a tantrum and he has no medical excuse to be behaving this way. And now his vitals are all the way screwed up, and oh boy, he's sure getting all the attention he wanted, because now we're all in his room trying to get him to stop before he codes. Night Intensivist tells him to stop it now because he's endangering his own life. He screams,
Then tell that witch to give me her glasses.
and then he holds his breast like he's 2 years old. And by this point, he's gotten his heart rate so high and his oxygen so low that we have no choice but to sedate and intubate him and put him back on a ventilator, which he is still on now and may not come off again. And all because he didn't get his way. Edit. When I say medical reasons, I mean things like brain injury, developmental disabilities, encephalopathy, dementia, psychiatric disorders, drug withdrawal, ICU, delirium, etc. Sometimes people legitimately aren't able to control the way they behave and it's not their fault. Their actions aren't a choice. They genuinely cannot help it. This wasn't that. This was a dude who couldn't fathom not instantly getting everything he wanted. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.